I've been playing Fallout 4. Okay, right off the bat, it's a very terrible Fallout game, but it is an alright adventure title, I will admit. But now that's out of the way, I want to talk about bringing back the series that I only made like one episode of, and talking about Fallout 4 in this one episode of How to Fix. Although I will admit, right off the bat before I start, I haven't actually finished it. I'm up to the bit where you have to follow the Freedom Trail and you have to find the railroad. Okay, so that's where I am in the story. Okay, at the moment. I will definitely finish the game before this comes out, because I know a lot of you bellends will try and spoil it for me. Not like there's going to be that much to be spoiled. Like, I already know some of the twists, like who Father really is, and, yeah, that's about it. That's all that's really worth mentioning, to be honest. The story's not that good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm going to narrate over it and comment on things that I like and things that should change. Or at least, in my opinion, what I would personally change.
War never changes.
You're gonna knock him dead at the Veterans Hall tonight, hun.
You think?
Absolutely. Now get ready and stop hogging the mirror.
Right.
Okay, the first thing I personally noticed was that the main characters talk. Isn't that incredible? Like, we've never seen this before in Fallout. A lot of people dislike it, but I think their anger should be targeted towards something else, which I'll get to in a minute. Now, the second thing that I noticed was that there's no rust, there's no debris everywhere, there's no blood, there's even a bush outside the window, so I instantly knew what was going on. This place was not Fallout. Not yet, at least. This was a good 80, 90 years before the Vault Dweller of Vault 13 emerged from the vault to try and find a water chip. And I really digged it.
Ah, good morning, sir. Your coffee. 173.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Brewed to perfection.
This is also really good world building. Like, we've never actually seen a Mr. Handy do what he was designed to do before. Like, yeah, sure, there was your Robo-Butler in Fallout 3, but, he was just sort of there as a sort of semi-vendor and told really bad jokes. But here you can see him, making coffee, getting everything ready, playing with the baby for you, etc., etc.
And today's newspaper just delivered.
Can you get that?
I should note that the bit that I just cut out was an incredibly long... Well, it's not incredibly long, but it feels incredibly long, because you have nothing to do, apart from interact with objects around your house, which doesn't really have that much replayability value. Like, you unlock mini-games for your Pip-Boy as you progress along the story, but there's nothing here. Like, you just have to wander around the house doing nothing. And so that's definitely something I'd change. Like, I'd either make the wait non-existent, or I'd give you something to do. Like maybe a 1950s-style video game console or something. Or maybe you should be able to pick up the Grognak comic and actually read it. That would have been cool. But no, we have to wander around our own home, just, talking to ourselves about the trophies our wives got and our military badges and... Ugh.
It's probably that salesman. He comes for you every day.
And here is where it all begins to go downhill.
Good morning. Vault-Tec calling.
You see that? You see that? That fucking dialogue wheel. I'll not get too much into detail now, as the fucking dialogue wheel deserves a video all by itself. So I'll keep it short. First of all, it limits your options, obviously. 2, it doesn't really look that good. I'm gonna be honest. It's purely for aesthetic reasons, and it fails even that. No matter how nice you think it's implemented. And 3, it limits the fucking options.
Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying.
Oh, no worries, sir. No worries at all. I'm not selling anything. Not today. You can't begin to know how happy I am to finally speak with you.
Fucking wonderful. The subtitles stopped working. But remember, guys, Bethesda is super inclusive. Yeah, unless what you need to feel included actually requires any fucking effort. I absolutely despise you, Todd Howard.
I've been trying for days. It's a matter of utmost urgency, I assure you.
Then I'm glad you caught up with me.
Oh, me too. You have no idea. Now, I know you're a busy fellow, so I won't take up much of your time.
And the subtitles stopped working again. Less than 10 seconds later. Absolutely wonderful.
Time being a precious commodity. I'm here today to tell you that because of your family's service to our country, you have been pre-selected for entrance into the local vault. Vault 111.
Now this is a pretty good setup to what's about to happen. This is good writing. There's the setup, or the premise, and the premise keeps building up and up and up and up. We'll see more of the premise setting up in a minute. And then there's the punchline, or the climax, or whatever you want to call it. What's a good example? Okay, all throughout the first Star Wars movie, we're told Darth Vader's evil. Darth Vader killed Luke Skywalker, the main character's father. We need to stop him. Like, that's the setup, okay? And then the punchline, the climax, is, no, Luke, I am your father. Well, I'm not. I'm not anyone's father. Darth Vader was. That's what Darth Vader... Just fuck it.
I'm a little busy right now.
Oh, of course, of course. This won't take but a moment. It's just a matter of verifying some information. Need to make sure you're cleared for entrance in the unforeseen event of, total atomic annihilation.
Now, I can't wait for the world to end.
Ha ha! That's the spirit. Now, let's see.
You see that shit? That shit right there? That's Fallout humor. That's really well done Fallout humor. And this absolutely ruins it. First of all, you don't have enough stats. Whatsoever. There are not enough stats here to make a believable build. And secondly, your stats don't start at 5. They start at 1. In the original 2 Fallouts, 5 was average, okay? 10 was incredible, and 1 was really, really bad. Now, the average is 1, and you can only improve from there. So your character doesn't really have any weaknesses. And that's just not how RPGs are meant to work.
Wonderful. That's everything. Just gonna walk this over to the vault. Congratulations on being prepared for the future.
Thanks again.
Hey, it's peace of mind. That's worth a little paperwork, right?
Insert another minute of doing absolutely fuck all.
Followed by flashes, blinding flashes. Sounds of explosions. We're trying to get confirmation.
What?
We seem to have lost contact with our affiliate stations.
And this is building up the premise even further beyond. Ha!
We do have coming in. That's confirmed reports. I repeat.
Oh my god.
We need to get to the vault. Now!
I also want to point out that if the game started here, absolutely nothing would have been lost.
Let's go.
Residents of Sanctuary Hills, if you are registered, evacuate to Vault 111 immediately.
Hey,
Cares about the stupid luggage?
I can't lose these. It'll be all I have left.
Infant,
Adult male, adult female. Okay, go ahead.
They have to! Thank you!
I just spent a few minutes just admiring how fucking cool the T-45 power armor looks in Fallout 4.
Good luck, ma'am.
Why don't they let us
God
in?
help us all.
Who cares if we're on some...
And the vertibird! Fuck, look at that monster!
Oh my god!
Hold on!
Oh god! Oh god!
That would have been a pretty cool scene if it didn't lag in the middle of it, if it didn't just fucking freeze whenever the fuck it pleased. And no, I know what you're thinking, and no, it's not my hardware. I've done it on 1080p and also 480p as well. It's just, you know, it's just Bethesda. It just works. No, it doesn't fucking work. Fuck you.
We did it. We made it. We're okay.
Everyone please step off the elevator and proceed up the stairs in an orderly fashion.
No need to worry, folks. We'll get everyone situated in your new home.
Okay, so basically, you narrowly escaped the nuke. And I know, yeah, I know. Everyone would be dead if that was real, because radiation travels at the speed of light, but that's besides the point. You narrowly escaped the nuke, and now you're safe in the vault.
Vault 111. A better future underground.
So we just... Yes, up the stairs.
Female is good.
Step over to the table and take a seat. This way, please. Just step over to the table. Welcome.
Thanks.
Pick up a suit right over there.
What now?
Just
this
follow
way.
the doctor here. He'll show you where to go.
All right, you three. Follow me.
Excuse me.
Just this way. Just step in here and put your vault suit on.
Okay, now, it's actually called a decontamination pod before you get into it, which would be a cool detail, if not for the fact that, like I showed you earlier, my character has an intelligence of 10. You know, he's on the same level as Arcade Gannon, and he wouldn't know, and he has no idea what's going on. Like, it's just sort of falls into my earlier point of it not really being an RPG game, because first of all, your character doesn't have any weaknesses, and your stats don't actually influence that much, apart from what you can craft and how good you are at combat, and that really, really irks me.
The pod will decontaminate and depressurize you before we head deeper in the vault. So just relax.
Time for a whole new life.
Manual override initiated. Cryogenic stasis suspended.
And here we get to the climax that all of this setup has been leading up to, and which basically kickstarts the entire story.
This is the one. Here.
So this is the usual cliche, super tense cutscene that you can move the camera around in. Is like, what's the point? Just make it a cutscene. Then you can fuck around with the cinematography. Like, it doesn't take away from the experience just because I can press A to bang on the window.
Open it.
I'm okay.
Almost. Everything's gonna be fine.
Come in. No, I've got it.
Let the boy go.
I'm not giving you shot.
At least we still have a backup.
Okay, so now we've woken up again.
Cryogenic array. Vault resident Must vacate immediately.
And now they are called cryopods because your character realized what they really were. Which, again, would be a nice touch if, you know, it depended on how smart your character actually was or how observant.
Come on! There has to be a release! Come on, come on, come on! Oh, God! I'll find who did this, and I'll get Sean back. I promise.
And that is the main premise to the game. You are woken up after being cryogenically frozen for a few years trying to find your son. So you smash some rad roaches, find a Pip-Boy, and get the fuck out of that vault.
Enjoy your return to the surface, and thank you for choosing Vault Tech.
So, after we emerge from the vault, what most players would logically do is return to their home, where they meet our old Mr. Handy Butler. And he's gone a little bit mental. This is probably one of the funniest dialogues in the entire game.
You're suffering from hunger-induced paranoia. Not eating properly for 200 years will do that, I'm afraid.
200 years? What? Are you...
A bit over 210, actually, sir. Or give or take a little, for the Earth's rotation and some minor dings to the old chronometer. That means you're 2 centuries late for dinner. Perhaps I can whip you up a snack? You must be famished. Oh, sir, it's been just horrible. 2 centuries with no one to talk to, no one to serve. I spent the first 10 years trying to keep the floors waxed, but nothing gets out nuclear fallout from vinyl wood. Oh, nothing! And don't get me started about the futility of dusting a collapsed house. And the car! How do you polish rust?
So you search the neighborhood with the mental Mr. Handy, and then you make your way to meet the Minutemen. So that was basically the gist of what the intro to Fallout 4 is like. All in all, it is actually a pretty solid introduction to a Bethesda game, which, you know, they're not exactly well known for. Like, the intro to Skyrim was fucking terrible. But all in all, this was pretty good. This was honestly a pretty good intro. But I'm going to make a list of the things that I think it did right, and the things that it could have definitely improved on. Okay, first of all, what it did right. First thing, it established the character that you are playing as pretty damn well. I mean, unlike all of the other Fallouts, it's more of a JRPG than a Western RPG. And what I mean by that is, in a Western RPG, you are the player, you are the main character. But in a Japanese RPG, you are merely the puppet master for a completely separate character from yourself. Like, they're their own character with their own goals, ambitions, personality, etc., etc. And that's apparent from the fact that it has a clear backstory, or he or she. They have their own voice. It's the first Fallout RPG with a talking main character, apart from And thirdly, yeah, that's it. Just those two. I was going to do the rule of 3, but they're basically the only things that define it. In fact, making a character, or the main character, silent, the silent protagonist, is actually a pretty good way, it's a very cheap and easy way to make the player sort of not really empathize, but rather sympathize instead, by placing themselves in the character's shoes because there's no character there, such as Soap McTavish, or Gordon Freeman, or Link, or you can probably think of a lot more examples than I can because I'm really tired and I can't really think straight. It explains just enough. Like, it does give you a little bit of an info dump, but it doesn't just bombard you with information and names and places and stuff that you're never going to remember, like Skyrim does. It gives you enough information for you to be intrigued and to sort of understand what's going on, but, you know, it's still fun. You're not just listening to an NPC talk like you are doing now. Not that I'm an NPC. Well, I might be, but I want to be a villain. I don't want to be like a random villager 368. You know what I mean? 3. It's really streamlined and all of the RPG elements are watered down. And I know you're probably thinking, hang on, why is this a good thing? Well, let me tell you. It's because there isn't that big of a market for RPG games, like true RPG games, right now. Or at the time when Fallout 4 was released. It's still not really that big of a market right now. Like, there's Vampire the Masquerade 2 Bloodlines... There's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 coming out in 2020. Oh, so fucking hyped for that! But apart from that, yeah, no, there's not really any true RPGs, to my knowledge, that are coming out anytime soon. So, yeah, appealing to the normie market, and they could slowly sort of revert back to what Fallout was at its roots. They could do that if they wanted to, so that's a bonus, like a positive, in my opinion. Streamlining it and sort of making it appeal to the normie market. If you think intentionally obscuring a game and making its mechanics difficult and complicated and scaring away the normies is a good thing, you're a fucking imbecile. Do you understand me? Like, you are a legit fucking brainlet with nothing worthwhile to say. Granted, scaring away longtime fans is just as retarded, but I'll get to that when I talk about the negatives. And 4, it's new. We've never seen this before. The closest we've ever gotten was in Fallout 1. Yes, Fallout 1. That is the earliest point a Fallout game has ever gone in the timeline. I'm not going to mention the one that came out recently, because that is not a Fallout game. Now, on to the negatives. 1 is way too long, and not enough happens in it, especially at the start. Like, just wandering around your house, it's boring. I hate it. It's not like Skyrim levels of boring, but it is pretty fucking dull. And it's completely antithetical to what happens next. Like, if they were trying to go for this, everything's fine and happy and calm and boring, and then, oh no, the world's over. It fell flat on its face. I was just bored throughout the first half of it, and then I wasn't bored in the second half of it. 2, it was a little bit too streamlined. And as a result, it alienated a vast majority of the original fanbase, including myself to a certain extent, like I said in the intro. Okay, right off the bat, it's a very terrible Fallout game, but for me personally, it wasn't really a deal breaker. Because if you're expecting an actual RPG from Bethesda, you're a bit of a spacker, to be honest, not gonna lie. Okay, now that's the intro done, let's get on to the main game. In part 2. Special thanks to my 2 top-tier patrons, Stolen Dragoon and Ori Main, and all of my other patrons as well. And thank you for watching this far into the video. Like, I don't think I've ever made a video this long before that I actually enjoyed making. I would make it like an hour long and just get the whole thing over and done with, but I don't think I actually have the storage space on my computer required for such a vast video. Because, you know, I've got a lot of games installed and applications that I occasionally use. Like, maybe once or twice a month. And, you know, they're just not worth, uninstalling. I hope you understand. And, look on the bright side, it means you'll get more videos. They just won't be as long. Apart from this one. You know what I mean.